Hello and welcome to Celebrating Excellence, the video series that highlights the contribution of St. Lucia's Nobel laureates, as well as the achievements of other St. Lucians who are already making their mark, or who are aspiring to do so. The theme for the 2026 Nobel Laureate Festival is Celebrating Excellence, honoring our legacy, shaping our tomorrow. In this episode, youth economy consultant Krystal Riviere speaks to us about the contribution of Sir Arthur Lewis to the field of development economics and the role of the youth economy as an engine of economic growth.
When we consider Sir Arthur Lewis and the model that he is best known for, we think of somebody who developed a model for beyond his time. He was way before his time. That's the actual correct term for it. He was thinking of St. Lucia and the Caribbean in a post-emancipation era, but in a pre-independence for us, but in an independence era for the rest of the region. And so he was thinking of a model of development that would help us develop out of our culture of colonialism, our economics based on colonialism, going into industrialization in the region where industrialization had already taken place in the first world nations. And so you're thinking of a lot of untrained, unskilled workers who were not necessarily engaged in economic activity. They were previously dependent on first massa and then dependent on what we would call monocropism. So they were dependent on first the sugar industry, and then we have in St. Lucia the banana industry. And how would we diversify our economy so that we're not dependent on one particular industry? We are dependent on several industries. In the event one flip-flops or one gets disturbed, we're not totally out of money. Our country is not totally failing. So we think of Sir Arthur Lewis being a man way before his time, ensuring that there's development for his country, St. Lucia, and ensuring there's development for the region on a wider scale. And how do you do that with so many unskilled, untrained workers, with a very small middle class and a much larger base of lower class workers and working class people? The Youth Economy Agency, fast forward to 2025, is answering one of those questions for us, answering one of those problems for us. With so many young people who were unemployed, the state cannot, through the public service, employ every young person who's coming out of secondary school. Is a fact. Thankfully, we have a lot more young persons who can access education at the tertiary level of Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. But when they leave school, they're left hanging, and some of them get very despondent and disappointed because they have so many large hopes and so many big dreams. The Youth Economy Agency, as conceptualized by the Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre, who himself understands economics, is to be able to encourage young people to create the jobs that they want for themselves. A lot of young people right now are thinking of side hustles as a thing, whereas in my time, and I'm not that old, just a few short years ago, we were not thinking of side hustles as a thing after we left school. We left school to look for a job. But you have young people who are in school already doing side hustles. They are crocheting, they are making tamarind balls, they themselves are baking cupcakes and they're selling to their friends, they're selling to their teachers even, they're selling sometimes on a Saturday in the boulevard. And so the youth economy is now taking those unskilled workers when they leave school, these untrained workers who were in such large numbers when Sir Arthur Lewis developed the model. We are now taking those young, energetic people and we are telling them, here is financing, here is training so that you're no longer going to be untrained. And here we are going to help you develop yourselves. And in developing yourselves as an entrepreneur, you will then contribute meaningfully to our economy, St. Lucia. So what do we have? We have young people who have started businesses or had business ideas that were sometimes innovative in the genuine sense of innovation, but also innovative in the sense that these things had not been tried out before by young people because they were afraid, because they may have been discouraged, and because a lot of them did not have access to financing. So the agency provides that financing for them through grant funding and through loan funding. Grant funding, they don't have to pay it back. However, the critiques of the Youth Economy Agency would quickly point out that we have a whole bunch of inexperienced young people and we're just giving them money. The truth of the matter is the agency goes through a pre-screening process to help us understand what the needs of the young people are, what their vision is for their business idea, and also to help them flesh out in their mind what really they're about to get into. Loan funding, we go through a more stringent process because, of course, with loan, the ability to repay is important. However, because the agency, one of its mandates is to provide hope for young people, we do not ever want to turn people away based on the fact that we think that they don't have collateral or they're not coming from a family that can support them in that kind of way. So collateral is not necessary. But what is necessary is for you to be able to show proof that your business can repay that loan. I want to quickly add that whereas the St. Lucia Youth Economy Agency has been established since 2023, and we can even go further when it was established by the Act of 2022, right now there are governments across the Caribbean, from Grenada, from St. Vincent, St. Kitts and Nevis, and even Antigua, who are considering the Youth Economy Agency model that has been established here in St. Lucia. And we're working assiduously to give them the support because we recognize that based on the success of the Youth Economy Agency here, the support that young people have received here and the way they're contributing to even the unemployment rates going down, and it is presently the lowest it has ever been in this country, partly due to the fact that there aren't young people sitting around waiting for a job. They are creating the jobs for themselves. You could see something fantastic coming out of it where at some point some of them are even going across to export St. Lucia, fine-tuning their product and exporting outside of St. Lucia. So we see growth. We hope that we will be able to grow the middle class. We hope that they themselves, their businesses will grow so that they can then employ other young people like themselves and just other people in St. Lucia. Because when you think of a business growing, it's not just salesperson and customer service people. You need somebody who's going to clean the place for you. You possibly need a driver. There are so many other people that you can employ in a business. I want to touch quickly on training and development and mentorship. They are key elements that are tied with the granting of loans and grants. Financing is one aspect, but according to the Act in St. Lucia right now, training and development and mentorship are key aspects of the Youth Economy Agency and the Youth Economy Act. Training is developed per the needs of the youth. So training is not arbitrary. It doesn't work like NSDC, which is a National Skills Development Center, and they develop training programs across the board. For the Youth Economy Agency, the training programs are developed for the needs of the clients who come through the agency. So I mentioned earlier about the screening process, the pre-screening process. Based on the pre-screening, then the business development unit is able to identify how many young people are missing key skills for their development. So you find that a lot of young people didn't understand basic accounting. They didn't understand cash flow. You ask them, how much money do you make a week? What is your profit? They didn't understand. They didn't know. And so for that reason, you found that the training and development department would have developed bookkeeping, basic bookkeeping. And I want to stress basic because we recognize that all young people are not academics. And there are some young people outside of not being academics, they are afraid of the classroom because they have experienced trauma. Some of them have been told all their life that they can't learn, and so on. And you don't want for a youth economy agency to come up and appear and be another place that you fail. So we do a lot of hands-on training so that young people can feel like they are learning, and we make them use their businesses as their example. So if you are doing, for example, with the introduction to business planning training, you're actually developing a business plan for the business that already exists, that is your business. And you now get a better understanding of your business as you do each chapter of the business plan. And with mentorship, the mentorship program is a 4 to 6 month program where the clients of the agency are paired with experts in the field of accounting, in the field of sales and marketing, in the field of finance, and so on, so that they get hand-holding for that mentorship period in order to help them grow their business. At the end of the day, the Youth Economy Agency St. Lucia is in the business of developing the holistic entrepreneur. And we hope that as we go throughout the region, we're going to see the development of the holistic entrepreneur. We believe that finance is important, just like our Nobel Laureate believed that financing was essential, but we also believe that training is important. And of course, Arthur Lewis believed that training was important because we had a large population of untrained and unskilled workers here in St. Lucia and in the Caribbean. So we believe that the more we train, the more we upskill, it is the better for us as a nation, because now you'll have a lot more educated young people walking around the place, being able to contribute positively to the development of our nation. And then you will have mentors, because you cannot just pack away people who are retired as if they are of no use. People are retiring with sharp minds. They are very useful. They still have energy. They still contribute to the development of our nation. And if they are able to pour into our young people, we know that as a nation, we will do very well. Look at the East, and people like to talk about Singapore, and Singapore is indeed a really good model of success based on what our Nobel laureate was able to propose. And so we are seeing through the Youth Economy Agency that Arthur Lewis's model is in action. And we look forward to the expanding of the agency so that more young people can benefit, and that we as the agency here in St. Lucia can then go into schools and hopefully revive the Junior Achievers program and possibly do something that is separate and apart from Junior Achievers, something that is oriented, so that you have young people out of school thinking with an entrepreneurial mindset and going into the world of work. Even if they are to find a job in an office, they can still have a side hustle. They can still employ people in other businesses. And if we do it that way, we will lower our unemployment rate, but we will also upskill our citizens so that we have a much better citizenry for the development of our nation.
It's the 33rd year of celebrating St. Lucia's Nobel laureates. We're excited to bring you a wide range of events, from a special 2-day community painting activity in library to book fairs, award ceremonies, markets, podcasts, and the annual Nobel laureates memorial lectures. To keep up with everything that's happening, visit the Facebook page at Nobel Laureate Festival St. Lucia. I'm Delia Delore. Goodbye.